I'm back. You know, life gets busy. Hey y'all, it's Becky here from the Beckisphere, where we talk about the climate crisis and clean energy transition. If those are interesting and important topics to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below and ring the bell so you don't miss every time I post. I've been traveling. I have dropped off my biggest distraction at nursing school, aka my boyfriend, across the country. I have then supplemented that time that I was originally spending with him to do a master's program. So we're both doing master's programs right now, which is fun. I'm doing an online master's program for University of Connecticut, and it's called MEME. It's Masters for Energy and Environmental Management, because I'm interested in helping cities become more sustainable. So that's kind of my end goal with that master's program. I've wanted to do grad school forever. That's just always something I knew I was going to do because I love learning. I love research. As you could probably tell, I love research. But I needed to figure out what I wanted to do and make sure that I was picking it in the right direction. And that took a little while. But here I am. And I've just started my first course, which is on natural resource management. So that's exciting. And also, I believe I will get a concentration in policy management in the master's program. So that's one of the things that I am busy with right now. But I'm very excited to share everything I learned with you. I did also take another course over the summer. That one was with Harvard, actually, and it was on water policy in the 21st century. So that's very interesting. And I hope that I will be able to incorporate a little more of my knowledge having to do with water policy in the future, because I do primarily talk about clean energy when it comes to transitioning to a new climate future, but water is a really stressful topic. You know, when we talk about the pyramid of concerns when it comes to climate change, I'm sure some of you have seen it. I'll put it on the screen. You know, we just start with like, oh yeah, extreme weather events and stuff like that. And then we move into water wars, you know, and destabilization of countries. And yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff that we covered in that class. And it's just, shit's stressful, man. It goes back to, are we all stressed because we know more, because, you know, the internet has globalized our knowledge, or are we more stressed because shit's more stressful? I do think it's both. I feel like anyone who claims that there was just as much going on back in the day as there is now is ignoring the climate crisis, because they didn't have to deal with that. Yes, they also had other chemical pollution issues, but we have that too. We're just adding it on. It's great. Like, forever chemicals, awesome. Anyways, so we cope. You know, and I'm going to talk a little bit about also different recommendations I have for if you're on the same page as me and you're like, wow, I'm informed and I hate it. What to kind of do to get some of that energy out in a way that feels like you're doing enough to relax, you know, because my main motto that I tell myself over and over again is I do everything I can, and then if we still get screwed, I can't say I didn't try, right? So that's kind of my mentality when it comes to, you know, covering these overarching and seemingly uncontrollable topics such as the climate crisis or chemical pollution. But something that kind of goes into that is, in addition to doing my master's program, I also have started a fellowship program. So I am now an AmeriCorps Fellow, which is really exciting. I will be doing a fellowship service project for the next year where I will be in charge of implementing a San Francisco Bay Area city's climate action plan. So it's kind of exactly the sort of thing I'm going to be wanting to do with my master's. So that's really exciting. And also, my master's program has the option of either doing a thesis or an internship. And so this internship is actually going to fulfill some of my master's. I love putting, like, packaging things within each other. That's literally how I survived getting a double major in my bachelor's degree in just 4.5 years. It's just, how much can I double dip? So that's really exciting as well. So it's an AmeriCorps program. It's called Sustainability Service Corps. And this one's only based in California. It's either in SoCal or it's in the Bay Area. Highly recommend you check it out if you have the opportunity. They prioritize mentorship. So they recognize that the people doing these fellowships don't necessarily know a lot having to do with public policy. Maybe they did something in college that was related to environmental science or something like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have experience like working at government agencies. So it gives me the opportunity to really get my foot in the door with this type of work and see if it's for me, which I feel like it will be because I'm a communicator. I know my shit. I like policy. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited. And so far, like, I'm happy. So yeah, there's also some other different like service corps. If you're in the position where you're like, oh, I really want to help out with this stuff. I might want to get into public policy, but I don't know where to go. Also check out Climate Corps. So there's 2 Climate Corps, fun fact. One is California based, and it also has now extended to, I believe, Oregon, Washington, and maybe New York, maybe also North Carolina. But they were the original that the Sustainability Service Corps kind of came off of because they decided they just wanted to be California based. But that one also works with different cities and organizations to develop different projects relating to climate action, education, all that kind of stuff. And the Sustainability Service Corps is not just working with government agencies. That's the track that I chose to do. It has to do with a city, but there are also other people that are working with education or working with urban farming, that sort of thing. So yeah, check it out. So the second one is basically the federal Climate Corps that just came into effect. President Biden started that one, and that one is federal. I will say not as well paying, but very good for like, resume building. So especially if you are someone that is more new to the job world, or you're like just getting out of college and trying to figure out what to do, definitely check out their website because they probably have something closer to you, depending on wherever you are. And of course, this is only in the US, that you can check out to see how you like working with different climate action. So that kind of leads into my recommendation for anyone who wants to act on climate change but doesn't know where to start is look for an organization that fulfills the sort of niche that you are interested in having to do with climate action. Don't try to do absolutely everything for climate change. That's impossible. Like, there's way too many tangents that you can go down. Focus on the thing that actually you're passionate in. Like for me, communication, public policy, that's my jam, right? But for other people, it might be ocean conservation, or it might be farming, or it might be education, right? And pick that specific area that really you would thrive more in, and find an organization where you can either meet like-minded people having to do with that topic so you can at least lament with them, or better yet, that they have some sort of actionable thing that they do, whether or not that is implementing public policy, implementing education strategies, working with communities to develop different urban farms, whatever it is. Definitely try to find one of those organizations, because while we have so many individual actions we can do, we're constantly going against the grain of how society is currently set up. It is overwhelming to try to just focus on individual action. Definitely not saying you shouldn't. For example, I have different, more sustainable brands that I love to use instead. I have different things that I like to do. I'm trying to encourage my grandparents to get back to composting, different things like that. There's definitely spaces that you can do individual action, and it does make a difference. But really the biggest way that you can impact is by community-based action. We often think about either voting or individual action. We kind of don't think about the community-based action. And to be fair, community-based action is really something that can take up a lot of your time depending on what you choose to do. So, you know, try to see if it's something that you can do that, like, just go to a meeting once a month, you know, that sort of thing. Just start small and then see if there's areas that you have the time to do something a little more. So that's what I would recommend. That's something I'm also going to try to do, even though my fellowship will fulfill that a decent amount for me. So in the way of my YouTube channel, first comes to first, of course, I'm going to cover the presidential debates coming up. I also definitely need to cover the latest information that Kamala has put out having to do with her climate and energy agendas. So those are different things that I do want to cover. You know, politics is important. And then also I am going to bring back Twitch streaming this time on Sundays for 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, those are my plans. So if you want to support any of the work I'm doing and also support Rue's vet bills, because just stay tuned for that. Little boy is the most expensive bush cat I've ever had. Then please consider donating via my Patreon for as little as $3 a month, or a one-time donation through Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. It's down below. Everything's down below. I would greatly appreciate it. It's now time for a fun fact about Rue. Well, kind of fun. So basically, about a week and a half ago, is that right, Rue? He's staring at me from the ground right now. But about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, he got out. There was a screen door that I didn't realize was open, and he got out around midnight and came back at 3:30 in the morning with a dead bird and a limp. I am not convinced he killed that bird. I'm so sorry, Rue. He's a really bad hunter. He's never killed anything. He can't even kill a fly. So there's a chance the bird was already dead. But he looks really proud of himself. Reminder that cats have made several bird species go extinct, which is why I always advocate for having only indoor cats. But anyways, he also apparently got into a cat fight with a neighbor cat. Poor boy had no chance. I had just trimmed his nails like 2 days before. And he was limping. And so took him into the emergency vet the next day, got him a rabies shot and got him some antibiotics. But he was still limping. And so I took him to another regular vet, and we determined that he probably just sprained his front leg. And it seems like that makes sense based on his healing at this point. He's almost not limping anymore. Still a little bit. But yeah, that's the latest with little baby boy Rue. I say bush cat because he was literally found in a bush by my brother. But yeah, that's the latest medical bills for my sweet little boy. And that was a fun fact about Rue. And until next time, remember to talk about the climate crisis every single day and to support your local news organizations. Thank you to the people on Patreon who help support me and my fur baby Rue. A special shout out to the climate confident and courageous David H., Paul B., Phil Plasma, Dan Morton, Specker, Bree C., Deanne, Kevin Morton, SKP Joe's Course Gold, and Gary Stark. I greatly appreciate your support of $5 or more. If you would like to support the work I do, please check out the Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links in the description below for reoccurring or one-time payments. Bye!